Refugee Irina Zyarchenko is heading to the Czech Republic, where her son Igor recently underwent surgery. She urgently needs to get to him. When her bus is delayed, Irina frantically tries to find someone willing to give her a ride, but not every driver is prepared to take a refugee across the border. The woman is willing to pay for the gas, even 3 times the usual amount. Finally, she manages to reach the Czech Republic. Her friend Marina, who is also a refugee, meets her there. Igor is still unconscious. Although hospital staff do not normally allow visitors into the recovery room, Irina is permitted to see her son. He is covered in scrapes and bruises after the brutal attack. Igor was found in this condition on the stairwell landing. Someone had attacked him with extreme brutality. Marina was supposed to be looking after the young man, but it all happened during the night. Irina searches through Igor's belongings, looking for his passport and insurance documents. She wants to be by his side when he wakes up. The very next morning, Igor regains consciousness. Irina promises her son that everything will be all right and that they will be back home in just a few days. Captain Novotny of the criminal police comes to the hospital to investigate the circumstances surrounding the attack. The neighbor who found Igor heard someone running out of the building. The police are investigating the incident as a case of grievous bodily harm. Captain Novotny asks Irina where she was at the time of the attack. The woman explains that she was back in her home country, dealing with paperwork. She and her son are in the process of obtaining Czech citizenship. Irina did not take Igor with her, because he had school and training. He is a competitive gymnast. Irina's ex-husband left them, and she has no idea where he is now. In the Czech Republic, the woman works for a cleaning company. For now, Irina and Igor are still citizens of another country, which may be relevant to the investigation. With the doctor's permission, Captain Novotny enters Igor's room to ask him a few questions. The boy can barely speak, he only manages to say that there were 3 attackers. Novotny decides to return when Igor is feeling better so that he can get a clearer picture of what happened. Irina stays by her son's side, promising him that the scumbags will soon be caught. Later, after discovering that water is leaking into their apartment from upstairs, she rings the neighbor's doorbell. Marek, a Roma boy who lives there with his large family, denies that the water is coming from their apartment. Furious, Irina demands that Marek either call an adult, or let her inside so she can check for herself. This is not the first time the Roma family has flooded their apartment. Irina shuts off the water. Marek makes it perfectly clear that she will regret barging into their home. Irina does not care. Right now she has far more serious concerns on her mind. Later that same day, the Roma woman who lives upstairs appears on Irina's doorstep to confront her. After Irina's visit, the police took Marek away on suspicion of attacking Igor. Irina knew nothing about it. She had not mentioned Marek to the police or anyone else. The woman threatens and insults Irina. Refugees are far from welcome here. There is no telling how far the conflict might have gone if the neighbors had not intervened. Irina goes to the police station. Captain Novotny asks whether it is true that their first citizenship application was rejected because of unpaid debts. Irina explains that it was not because of any debts, but because of a mistake she made on her tax return. She has already paid the outstanding amount. The captain wants to know where the woman got the money to start her own business. Unsure what this has to do with the case, Irina replies that she and her friend Marina ran a business together for several years in her home country. The captain wants to know whether Igor has had any conflicts with anyone lately, either at school or during training. Irina cannot recall anything of the sort. He is a very good boy. Any parent in her position would say the same thing. Captain Novotny knows that from personal experience. The woman visits Igor in the hospital again. An acquaintance of Irina's named Mikhail suggests that she go on television to bring attention to the story. He happens to have the right connections. Perhaps someone saw something. Irina is not sure it is a good idea, but she promises to think about it. Igor's condition is still quite serious. He is already tired of lying in a hospital bed and wants to return to training and his friends as soon as possible. Irina encourages her son, telling him that he will recover very quickly. The doctors, however, have a different opinion. One of Igor's kidneys was so badly damaged that it had to be removed. The doctor assures Irina that Igor will be able to lead a normal life, but he will have to give up gymnastics. A bad landing or a hard blow could prove fatal. The woman does not know how to tell her son that he can no longer train. Her business has not yet taken off in their new country either, so she still has to work as a cleaner. Irina takes a day off to look at properties with Marina that they could rent for their future beauty salon. Finally, they find a suitable place at an affordable price. It is a new beginning, but Irina cannot bring herself to celebrate because she keeps thinking about the difficult conversation she will have to have with Igor. The following day, she meets with Mikhail, who once again strongly urges her to go on television. What if someone else's son or mother is attacked tomorrow? They need the public support. Irina eventually agrees to give an interview. She urges anyone with information not to remain silent. Her son was not even robbed, it was simply a senseless act of brutality. During the interview, Irina also mentions that her son will never be able to practice gymnastics again because of the irreversible damage caused by the attack. When Igor learns that his mother gave an interview, he is unhappy. He did not want the incident to receive so much public attention, but Irina cannot simply let it go. If they do nothing, justice will never be served. They cannot rely too heavily on the police either. After all, who cares about an attack on a refugee? The boy admits that no one attacked him, he was simply hanging from the stairwell railing when his hand slipped. Igor did not know what to do. Everyone kept saying that he had been beaten, and he did not correct them. He never thought things would go this far. Irina still does not believe him because this is completely out of character for her son. Igor says that his girlfriend Lenka was with him. She saw everything and can confirm his story. Irina cannot understand how her son could have behaved so irresponsibly. She left him alone only because she believed he was old enough and sensible enough to look after himself. The consequences of his lie are far more serious than he can imagine. Marek has already been arrested because of him. The woman demands that Igor explain everything to the police officer and apologize. Meanwhile, Marina tries to reassure Irina, telling her that those responsible will inevitably get what they deserve. Irina admits that Igor made the whole thing up. In reality, no one attacked him. Marina advises Irina to keep quiet about it. After all, no one else knows the truth. Marina sees no problem with Marek being arrested, since he would have ended up under arrest sooner or later anyway. At least Marina has no doubt about that. But Irina continues to be plagued by guilt, so she tracks down Igor's girlfriend, Lenka. The two of them trained at the same gymnastics club. The girl confirms that Igor fell. He was not moving. Lenka thought he was dead, panicked, and ran away. There was no foul play. The neighbors who found Igor on the stairwell landing called an ambulance. Lenka swears that she has not told anyone the truth, not even her parents. Irina has no idea what to do now. If the truth comes out, they will be deported. She asks Lenka to keep it a secret. The girl promises that she will. The story is already everywhere, on the news and in the newspapers. Irina warns her son to keep quiet, or they will not be granted citizenship. If the police cannot determine who attacked Igor, they will not arrest anyone. They will have no other choice. There is no evidence that Marek, the Roma boy who lives next door, was involved in any way. Igor is upset that his mother told everyone on television that he would never be able to practice gymnastics again, yet did not tell him. He was the last to find out. Irina, however, is now worried about something else: how to convince everyone that Igor is telling the truth. They must make sure that the few people who know what really happened do not expose them. The widespread public outcry has prompted the police to take immediate action. Officers are already questioning witnesses, reviewing surveillance footage, and increasing patrols near Irina's home. A rally will also be held soon, bringing together concerned members of the public. Many admire Irina's courage. Not every woman in her position would dare to speak out publicly, considering their refugee status. Irina fears that the situation could escalate into conflict between different ethnic groups in the country. Hatred is already spreading through the media. Igor is photographed for a newspaper article. The city authorities offer to provide the mother and son with a new home and are prepared to help cover their rent. Captain Novotny once again asks Igor to try to remember more details. The boy says that he was thrown over the railing. The captain shows him photographs of the Roma boys who live nearby. Igor confirms that he knows them, but denies that any of them took part in the attack. In the middle of the night, someone repeatedly rings Irina's doorbell. She steps out into the shared hallway to investigate, but no one is there. Later, the woman discovers that the windows of her car have been smashed. She has to take the bus to avoid being late for a Czech language dictation test, one of the most important stages of the citizenship process. One of the candidates is disqualified from the test simply for taking out his phone to check the time. Later, Irina approaches the same Roma woman whose son was suspected of attacking Igor. Marek should already have been released, since there was no evidence proving his involvement. Nevertheless, the woman refuses to listen to Irina's apology. Despite everything, Irina continues to play her part and give interviews. She also intends to take advantage of the situation and asks a city official to attach a letter of recommendation to her citizenship application. Irina is terrified of being rejected a second time. The city authorities not only provide the mother and son with an affordable home in a safe neighborhood, but also donate 50,000 Czech korunas to them. All of this receives extensive media coverage. When Irina finds Lenka in Igor's hospital room, she sends the girl away. Until this is all over, it is too dangerous for the young couple to see each other. Igor is utterly exhausted by the lie his life has become. To cut him off from his friends, Irina takes away his phone charger. They started this lie, and there is no turning back now. The rally against violence will take place this Friday. 2,500 people have already signed up to attend, and the number continues to grow. Irina meets with Mikhail to express her concerns about the upcoming rally. She fears that it could provoke unrest and further harassment. But Mikhail is determined to see it through, sincerely believing that he is doing the right thing. Irina is unable to change his mind. She would rather not attend the rally at all, now that she fully understands the scale of her own deception. Irina gives her son his phone back on the condition that he does not post anything on social media. They now have to watch everything they say because any careless remark could be used against them. For some reason the police still have not released Marek. His mother demands that Irina publicly declare during the rally that he is innocent. Irina promises to do so. She does not wish any harm on anyone. First, the woman goes to the police station to find out why Marek has still not been released. Captain Novotny points out something strange. Igor cannot even describe his attackers, yet he is certain that Marek was not one of them. The captain asks Irina to explain this. The woman says that the boys knew each other, so Marek had no reason to attack Igor. Because Marek has had previous run-ins with the police, his DNA was found at the scene, and he has no alibi. The prosecutor decided to keep the boy in custody until his trial, even though the surveillance footage revealed nothing. The neighbors heard Igor talking to someone that night. There were 2 voices. In addition, the forensic examination determined that Igor's injuries were not caused by an assault, but by a fall from a height. Irina reminds the captain that her son said he had been thrown over the railing. However, the captain senses that the mother and son are not telling him everything. Novotny urges Irina not to remain silent if there is something she needs to tell him. The woman merely replies that she has nothing more to add. The march to the Zyarchenko's home is cancelled over fears of clashes with activists. The police are constantly patrolling the streets. Despite everything, however, the rally is still going ahead. Irina is expected to give a speech. Reporters photograph her every move. Several thousand people have their eyes fixed on her. Unable to keep it to herself any longer, Irina publicly declares that Marek is innocent and that the police know it, yet they are still keeping him in custody. Her words are met with disapproving murmurs from the crowd, but the mood changes dramatically as soon as Irina announces that they have decided to donate 50,000 Czech korunas toward the renovation of the sports center. Irina thanks everyone for coming. Mikhail takes over and begins whipping up the crowd, declaring that citizens cannot feel safe in their own country because of police inaction, and that 3 criminals are still roaming free. Irina plans to tell everyone the truth once everything settles down. Igor, however, does not think that is a good idea. Their lives have turned into a circus, but admitting the truth would only make things worse. Even if they move to another city, sooner or later someone will recognize them. Therefore all they can do is continue to maintain the lie. Irina and Igor are granted citizenship. Their secret will remain with them forever, no matter what happens.